Well, hello everybody and welcome. I'm Gustavo Tolosa, your cook for today and also your pianist for today. I am very excited. I've been looking forward to this now for almost 2 weeks, and I know that all of you are excited. I'm looking at the screen here. I can see all of you logging in. If you don't mind typing where you're logging in from, that would be great. And well, I just want to give you a warm welcome. And today we're going to do a cooking live with Gustavo. And this is the first one. I hope that there will be many others to come. This is very fun. And what we're going to do, we're going to get ready. So I know that some of you are going to be cooking with me, and I know some of you are going to be watching and then cooking later. So if you're cooking today, are you ready? Type in the chat box that, yes, I'm ready, and we will get started. And as I cook, I will tell you about the titles of each recipe. I'll tell you a little bit about my helpers here today. I will tell you about where I am today. So we're going to have a fun time. And then at the end, I will play some music for you. So let's go here to the stove, and let's see if we can move the camera right there. Okay, the first recipe. What we're going to do, we're going to need a pan. I have another a regular pan. I'm just using this one today, but the important thing is that it is a non-stick pan and it's already warm. I'm going to make it a little bit on a medium high now because I was on low. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the onion that is chopped small and the red pepper that is chopped small. We're going to go ahead and put it right here in this hot pan. This is one large onion and one small red pepper. Very good. So this is we're going to mix it like this. And while I'm doing this and while you're doing this, I'm going to be telling you, some things about the food that we're making, the title. This is our first recipe. And so the name of this recipe is Gustavo's Versatile Menjunje. And I want you all to practice saying this word, menjunje, because I'll explain to you what it is. It's men, as in men, then hun, H-O-O-N, and then he, like H-E, let's say. So menjunje. It's a funny word in Spanish. That's why I chose it. Actually, it brings me some memories from my childhood because my grandmother used to use it. When she would throw in, something with whatever she had in the refrigerator, she would make this mixture, she called it menjunje. Menjunje can also be translated as a brew, something like one of those brews that a witch would make. So that's why it's kind of funny. Has a mysterious kind of sound to it. So we're going to make Gustavo's Versatile Menjunje because this is a mixture, and it's versatile because we can use it in many ways. And I'll tell you in what ways you can eat this and how we're going to use it today as well. So let's see how this is going. Is everybody doing okay? Are you cooking your onions? We need the onions to brown and to release some of their own sugars. Very good. So here today, I have Richard, who is helping me in the back stage, bringing me everything that I will be needing. And I have Osvaldo, who is a friend of mine here, and he is working on the camera. And I can't thank both of them enough, because it would be difficult to do this all by myself. All right, so this is getting brown. You can notice how I haven't had to put water yet. This is such a good non-stick pan that we don't need water. But if yours is sticking, all you have to do is add a little bit of hot water, and then, but I'm, just add it as needed to sometimes to get, if it's sticking a little bit, you can do it that way. I don't need it because it's just doing very well without it. And this is one of the myths that we need oil to saute, and we don't. We can do dry saute, or we can do water saute, and in the end, really the end result of something that we're sauteing like this, it tastes the same. With the only difference that if I use oil, I'm adding quite a lot of extra calories to it. And not only that, but the calories are coming from fat, and fat goes to fat tissue very fast. So if we can avoid it, we avoid it. All right, excellent. I'm just going to do that. And now what we're going to do is add the next two ingredients, which is the chopped garlic. I have 5 garlic cloves here, okay? And I use my hands, excuse me, but they're washed and clean. And we're going to use the 4 cups of mushrooms that are chopped very small of the 4 cups of mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, then I'm sure you saw the directions. You could be using Brussels sprouts. You could be using eggplant, or I don't know, maybe you will come up with another substitution. I like mushrooms, different kinds of mushrooms. Mushrooms are one of those plants, I think is the only one, if I'm not mistaken, the only plant source that has vitamin D. So those of you that are a little bit worried about getting enough sunlight and enough vitamin D and don't want to take supplements, which according to many studies, some of these supplements are quite dangerous. So it's always better to get your vitamin D, which is not a vitamin, it's a hormone, but it's better to get it from the sunlight and or with the mushrooms. So excellent. Here we go. So this is going to cook. I want the mushrooms to release their juice, their water. Okay, we'll do it. You see how the mushrooms are releasing water? So this is just a perfect balance here because the water of the mushrooms, the liquid of the mushrooms is helping so that this mixture doesn't stick, this menjunje that we're making. And okay, let's see here. Remember that we don't add salt while we cook. We add salt on the surface of the food when we're going to eat it, because that way you eat less salt. And it's even better if you are a salt-free person and don't use any salt. All right, let's see here. It's pretty much done. So now what we're going to do is add our greens. I have spinach. I usually use kale, but I wanted a change. I've been using kale for like a week or 2 now, so I decided I was going to do some spinach. The spinach, I don't want to cut the finger, or you will not. If I don't want to cut a finger, or you will not have a concert at the end. You can chop this as small or as big as you like. This is just your preference. I'm watching the other mixture. It's not sticking, but if it sticks, go ahead and add a little bit of water and we are going to do this. This is a little bit more than one bunch of spinach. Again, this is very much up to what you like. You could put 2 bunches of spinach or Swiss chard or kale. Depends how much green you want. Okay, so now we're going to go here and add the greens. Of course, this will shrink to almost nothing. This will shrink so much. It looks like so much, and then in a few minutes, you know, I'm always surprised at how little it is. But okay, very good. So what a beautiful color here. Beautiful colors. It's sticking a little bit, but again, my spinach here is going to release water. I'm trying not to make this, I don't want to make this mixture too watery because we will need it for our next recipe. And let's see here. This mixture has so many nutrients, and it can be eaten in so many ways. This can be eaten next to a baked potato, next to a sweet potato, on top of rice with some salsa, or you can use it to stuff peppers and do stuffed peppers. You can eat it by itself if you add some cubed steamed potatoes to this. What we're going to do now is going to add the marinara sauce. This is a homemade marinara sauce, and we need 1 cup. If you don't have, you can just buy one already made. They sell some marinara sauces that don't contain oil. I do, as I follow the McDougall way of eating and the plant-based way of eating with not minimally processed foods, we try to minimize or completely cut the use of oil because it's just one of the most processed foods on the planet. But I would rather eat the olive with all the fiber and the micronutrients rather than the olive oil that doesn't have any fiber or water, and most of the nutrients are out. But so if you buy already made, make sure that it doesn't have oil or has little oil. I just prefer to make my own so that I know what's in it. Okay, and so now we're just going to add the spices, and this is where you can get creative. You can use whatever spice you want. Today, because today I chose these, but please don't think that these are the only ones that I used. We're going to put, I'm going to now lower the heat to minimum, to low, and the spices. Okay, here we go. 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. So here we go. Smoked paprika, and then that's 1 tablespoon. I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of oregano, which is one of my favorite spices. Okay. And I'm going to put half a teaspoon of cumin. Some of you may not like cumin, so leave it out. Maybe put something else instead of it. Maybe rosemary or something, I don't know. And then 1 teaspoon of chili powder. So those are the spices that I'm using today but each time that I make my menjunje, I really make it differently. Remember that if you want to eat this as a meal, that's when I have potatoes cubed and I mix them in. And that's with the starch and no fat, not added fat. This is a perfect meal to have all the nutrients your body needs, not gain weight, and be totally satisfied. I'm going to let it cook a little bit more, just because I want a little bit of the juice out for what I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do next. But I think that's done. Okay, so how about this? Wasn't that easy? Very easy, and it's something that you can keep in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 days, and you can literally put it on top of rice or quinoa, on top of a potato, sweet potato. You can make it a meal of its own. It can be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So very versatile. I hope that you will make this one of your go-to meals, because it can be in your refrigerator, and that's what you will grab when you're hungry and you don't want to cook and you don't have time to cook, maybe. So while you get it together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a short video that my mother and I filmed a few weeks ago when she was here, because she's also a concert pianist, and you can hear some French music by Georges Bizet. And that way it will give us time to gather. So for our next recipe, you will need the mashed potatoes, the coating, if you have panko or ground oats, and this menjunje, which we already have. You will also need what just escaped my mind, the sheet, the cookie sheet, lined, because we're going to do that, and the oven needs to be on now. You can turn it on if it's not already on. It needs to go on high to about 450 degrees, okay? Mine is already hot. So let's listen to a little bit of music, and we will be right back. All right, everybody. So we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. Some of you were asking what the spices were. I put smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon, oregano, 1 tablespoon, chili powder, 1 teaspoon, and cumin, 1/2 teaspoon. But please know that you can use whatever you like. That's the point, that you will use whatever it is that you like. So now we're going to go to our next recipe, which is one of my favorite because I love potatoes. I think most of you know that. I also love sweet potatoes, and I love crunchy food. So what we're gonna make is these are called crunchy stuffed potato balls. Okay, crunchy stuffed potato balls. So what are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna have fun with our hands. We're going to make like meatballs, but made out of potatoes. I hope that your mashed potatoes are warm, but and not too hot so that you can touch it. And we're going to make little balls. Then we're going to make a hole in there and put a little bit of this mixture. And then we're going to coat that ball with, we'll see. Okay, hopefully you have figured out what you want to use as coating, which could be nothing. But if you want it crunchier, then I'll show you what it is. Okay, so let's go here now. These are my mashed potatoes that I've done it a few minutes ago. I just want to make sure that they're creamy enough. I saved some of the juice from them because now they have dried up a little bit. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the juice that they cooked in, and just to make them creamier, but you really don't want them too soft. Okay, this is perfect consistency. See, it doesn't drop, but it's creamy. And I didn't put anything. This is just the water of where the potatoes cooked in. I did add a little bit of the nutritional yeast and a little bit of garlic powder, but all of that is in your handout that you got with the ingredients, and then you're gonna get it in the recipe. And that's it. So, okay. Now comes the fun part. I'm gonna use this, but you can use a spoon or whatever, I'm just going to scoop some out, and I will make a ball. You could make them a little bit smaller, or I like kind of about that size. And with my pinky, or what we call it in piano, my 5th finger, I'm just gonna make a small hole. And with a little teaspoon, I'm going to get some of this mixture. And it's a little messy, but it's okay. Okay, so it just takes a little bit. I can get a little bit more of the mashed potato and cover it. If you want to cover it, you don't have to. I will do this again. And now, this is my mixture. I used panko, like I told you in the ingredients list. You could have ground oats, and that's okay too. If you don't want to use any of those, you could just mix spices that you like. Hopefully, salt-free spices. Like there are so many out there. I don't know, but you could put oregano, or you could put rosemary and garlic powder and onion powder, anything like that. But this mixture has the panko, and it has a little bit of the nutritional yeast. Let's see what I put here. I'll tell you exactly what I put, but it's in your directions anyway. I put 1 tablespoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and I put a little bit of the nutritional yeast. But you can put any spices you like. So look, it sticks very well to it. Now, boys, this is going to be good. This is going to be crunchy on the outside, very crunchy on the outside. And let's see. And when you bite into it, it's going to be soft and creamy. And there's going to be that surprise in it, that Gustavo surprise, the menjunje. And you will be eating your potatoes and your greens all in one. Remember that potatoes have, I don't know if you read about the studies of the past, and recently there was one in Australia of men or women or people that are monitored by doctors, and they eat potatoes, only potatoes, for a whole year, because potato is a superfood. It has everything that we need. So we could actually survive on potatoes only. And Andrew, I can't remember his last name now, but Andrew from Australia, he's very famous now. Andrew Taylor, that's his name. I interviewed him. I have the video in my YouTube channel. He did it, and he not only lost 120 pounds because he was obese, but his health is perfect. So potatoes without any added fat, any oil, or any dairy that has fat in it, are perfectly safe. The potato is a problem when it is combined, because it's a starch, when it's combined with fatty elements in it. So this, as you can see, very healthy, and they're going to taste just great. All right, so I'm putting this in this cookie sheet, which has a cell pad, but you could use paper, whatever it is. And if you have an air fryer, use it. I don't have one right now. I'm in Argentina, and I'm going to get one. They have them here, but I don't have. I'm just going to do them in the oven. Okay, we're going to try something different. In case you want to do, your hands need to be kind of wet or moist, okay? And I'm going to put a large amount of potato. I'm going to make a stuffed, filled potato. I'm going to flatten this in my hand. I need to make it maybe even bigger, actually. Okay, this is kind of like doing art with food here. We're going to do something like this, okay? So now I will get a bigger amount of the mixture, okay? And I will close it. And I'm going to make a baked potato, a double baked potato. Nobody knows. If you have guests, you can tell them, look, I made a baked potato. And then inside there is this yummy filling. And we're going to coat this one as well. What do you think of this? Isn't this fun and delicious? Oh gosh, this is going to be so good, because then you can eat this with any of your favorite sauces or ketchup or You can eat it with a salad, since we're going to make a salad as well. Okay, so I will let you finish. Okay, I'll let you finish that. And I'm going to play one more piece of music. It's about 2 minutes while you continue to do this and while I read your comments. All right, very good. So how is the potato ball making? Are you almost done? Um, I can let you finish that and tell you a little bit about the next recipe. The next recipe is a salad, and it's a common salad here in Argentina, and I have tweaked it a little bit so that it's a little bit healthier than the original one, and I think it goes perfectly with our baked potatoes here. They're filled baked potatoes. It goes well with the menjunje. It goes well with anything. And I'll tell you that I am right now in Argentina. I'm in the province of Cordoba, which is where the mountains and the lakes are, a lot of them. And it's a very tourist like province, because a lot of the people from Buenos Aires and other big cities come here to the mountains. I am in a small town up in the mountains that is called VGB, Villa General Belgrano, and it was settled by Germans, and there are a lot of European communities here. It looks, in many ways, a lot like somewhere in the Alps. It's just beautiful, and it's winter here. So this morning it was 30 degrees, and so I want to eat this kind of food. I'm aware that some of you are in summer, but we're in winter here. So let's get started with the salad. What we will need for the salad, I'm just gonna go slowly because I know that maybe some of you are still finishing your potato balls. The potato balls will go in the cookie sheet there, with lined with parchment paper or with that mat that I have, silicone mat. And the oven needs to be pretty hot, at least for 50, if not for 75. It needs to be hot. And you will leave them there for maybe 45, 50 an hour. It will depend how crisp and how golden brown you want them. I tend to like them really, really crisp and not burnt, but almost. So I tend to leave them there for a long time. And the smaller ones are cooked first, so I take them out of the oven and I leave the bigger ones there until they're done. Okay, so for the salad, we're going to need our salad, our mix of greens. And mine has lettuce and arugula and spinach. I think it has those three. It may have one more. It just comes in a bag. And we will need 2 medium size yellow onions that are sliced. They're not chopped, they're sliced. We will need our 5 roasted red bell peppers in a jar. Hopefully you got the ones with no oil. And we will need the 3 ounces of sun-dried tomatoes. Also, hopefully you got the ones that come with no oil. So then for the salad dressing, you can use your favorite balsamic vinegar, but if not, then I'll show you how to make one. Also, you will need, if you want to use them, you will need the toasted pumpkin seeds. Okay, so we're going to go here where the salad is, and I will need my cutting board and my frying pan, please. So before I do this, I'm going to get this is my scan pan. This is 6 years old. It's perfectly fine. It comes with lifetime warranty, and you don't need a drop of oil here because it is such good quality that absolutely nothing sticks to it. Absolutely nothing. And if it does, then with a little bit of water, you can unstick it. So what we will need here is I'm gonna put this on medium high, and I'm gonna let it get warm or hot, I should say. While that is getting hot, I'm going to chop some of this because you can eat it like this. These are big bites, but I like to chop it a little bit. These are the 2 onions that are sliced, and I'm just going to put them here. They will also reduce. What we want to do is we want to caramelize these onions. We're not going to use oil. We're not going to use sugar or maple syrup. We're just going to use the natural sugars of the onions themselves. Okay, so this is going to take a little while. And while this is cooking, don't worry if you're falling behind, because later on there's going to be times when you can catch up, but try to keep up. I'm trying not to go too fast, and I'm just going to chop this because I like it smaller. While I'm chopping this mixture of lettuces and so I'm putting my chopped lettuces here. Now I'm going to show you how I add a little bit of water. And they're starting to get brown. A little, not much yet, but they just need to continue cooking here on their own. And I'm going to finish chopping the lettuce. So I'm going to chop this. Okay, that's done. This is going to be a big salad. So you can, hopefully you eat a lot of salad for you probably, hopefully you have a salad for lunch before your starch, and then you have it again for dinner the same way. I know people that have salad in the morning, which I haven't been able to do yet, but when you have salad in the morning, then you already got your greens in, or a lot of it. And remember that the greens is what Dr. Esselstyn says, that they have a compound that heals the endothelium, which is the lining inside of all of our arteries. And of course, all of our arteries have some damage because of our way of eating in our lives. But according to the studies that they have done, and you can watch these studies on YouTube under Dr. Esselstyn, the lining of the arteries actually heal when you eat 5 or 6 servings of greens every day. And a serving is just like a handful. You're not eating 2 pounds per serving, but they do show, because of the several compounds and chemicals that these greens release, they really can revert the damage of arteries. So this is very important. That's why I try to include greens with everything that I make. Okay, so you can see how the lettuce is chopped. We will continue monitoring our onions here. The onions are releasing more of their own sugars and juice, and that's what we want. All right, so let's see. Now we're going to chop. We're going to put, these are my sun-dried tomatoes. I have chopped them a little bit, but you can leave them whole or in bigger chunks. And I'm going to put the sun-dried tomatoes in the salad mixture. And using my hands here, I will mix it. And here are my fire-roasted red bell peppers, which I'm going to kind of cut in julienne kind of style. I don't want to chop them too small. Maybe 1 cut there, like that. And I will put this in the salad. This is a 3-ounce jar. You can put more, you can put less. These salads are very also versatile, because you can put as much or as little as you want of these ingredients. So you might like more of this or less of this. So these go here. And my onions are getting browner and browner, and I'm going to check how they're doing. Let's look at the onions now here. Yeah, they're really not sticking. So I just love my Scan pan. There are many non-stick pans out there, so I'm not saying you can, they're really good ones. I just happen to have this one that I bought when I started my journey of plant-based. I know that Mary McDougall, Dr. McDougall's wife, uses these, and so that's how I learned about this when I attended the 10-day live-in program in Santa Rosa, California, about 6 years ago. And I lost 70 pounds, and I regained my health. So Here we have the lettuce, we have the 5 roasted red bell peppers, the sun-dried tomatoes, and the only thing missing now, there are 2 things missing: our caramelized onions and our toasted pumpkin seeds that I have already toasted. This is optional. If you're trying to lose weight, you might want to leave out nuts and seeds altogether. But I have some as a treat. I really don't use them very often myself because I have a tendency to gain weight. Let's look at our onions here. So here you're going to cook them for as much. This could be already done. But if you want them more caramelized, you leave them longer. What I'm going to do actually is add a little bit of oregano because I like that spice. It's not in the recipe, but sometimes we improvise, right? So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of oregano here. That's it. Remember that we don't cook with salt because salt gets diluted when we cook with it, and then we add more. So we don't cook with salt. If you want to use some salt, use it on top of the food when you're about to eat it. It will hit the tip of your tongue, and with very little, you will get that pleasure that you're looking for because it will touch your tongue directly and it won't be diluted in the food. Okay, so I'm going to leave that maybe a few minutes. And for those of you who want to make the salad dressing, let's get started with the salad dressing while this is continuing. This salad is great with balsamic vinegar. There are so many different flavors of balsamic vinegar that that would be just fine, or just lemon, or even some lime juice. But I'm going to go ahead and make the salad dressing. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Look at the brown. That brown right there is what we want. That's the sugar. There's a red machine. That is the goodness, the brown goodness that we're looking for. Oh, this smells so good, guys, with that little bit of oregano in it. Yum. So for the salad dressing, we are going to need 1 cup of cooked lima beans, or any kind of white beans, really. 1 cup. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. 2 tablespoons of aquafaba, which is the juice of the garbanzo beans, but I don't have that today, so I'm going to use instead 1 teaspoon of chia seeds and 4 or 5 tablespoons of water. They have been soaking in there because that's going to make it thick. That's going to thicken the mixture. And then 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, which is salt-free. So I'm going to put all that, Osvaldo, right here in my food processor. And let's see. I'm going to keep adding water, actually. And it sounds like it's frying. You would think that I have oil here and that it's frying, but it's not. It's the heat and the actual onions and the water, a little bit, just very little water. Okay, so I was saying earlier that if you haven't visited my YouTube channel, visit it and subscribe to it. It is free, of course, and I have videos, cooking videos and videos with doctors and dietitians and chefs, and I have some music videos as well. So I'm going to get 1 cup of these white beans and put them there. And I'm going to get the lemon juice because I need 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And the measuring spoons. Okay, and this is what I have. I brought it from the States, and it's mustard, no salt added, but any kind of mustard with no salt, or if it has salt, well, you know, so be it, but we try to not use salt. So we're going to put the 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Here's the lemon juice, 1 tablespoon. Let's see, what is the other thing? 2 tablespoons of the chia seeds. The chia seeds have thickened with the water. 1, 2, and 1 teaspoon of the mustard. I will keep adding water to my onions here. And I think I am about to get them out of the heat. I'm going to let that water evaporate, and then my onions will be done. If you want to leave them longer, you can. That's totally up to you. So let's see. Let's cover my cute little processor here. And so one more time, this has the white beans, 1 cup, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of aquafaba or the chia seeds with water, and 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And I can tell that this is too thick, so I will be adding some more lemon juice and I'm going to turn off the stove, and I'm going to add some more warm water here, and we'll give it another going here. Now it is becoming that very nice creamy salad dressing. But again, if you want to use your balsamic vinegars, that would be fine too. I just wanted to share with you another salad dressing if you like creamy dressings. This definitely needs more water. So you see, you're doing this according to your what you like. I want to get the consistency of something like ranch dressing. Is everybody okay? If you're having any kind of issues or problem, type it in there. And I have Richard here who's helping me with the chat. He's reading. Look at this consistency. That's pretty good, but it will get thicker later on because the chia seeds will continue to thicken the mixture. So that's why I'm adding a little bit more of water. You might add some more lemon juice or lime juice to it. Okay, so now we're going to be ready to really make this salad. Okay, there you go. The onions, I'm just going to add the seeds, maybe that much, okay, and we will mix it, and let's go ahead and put some of the dressing. You might also want to put a couple of garlic cloves in here if you want it to be garlicky. All right. Now, I'm going to wait a few minutes to add the caramelized onions so that they can cool off a little bit. But that's the only thing that is missing here. By the way, I also have a Facebook page that is called Dr. Starch, all spelled out. If you want to go there and like it, I put a lot of free recipes and videos there. And this is when you will add, if you want to add ground pepper or a little bit of salt, if you use salt, and that is the salad. I have seen this salad also with artichoke hearts as well that are cut in fourths or chopped. So we're going to try it later. And we're going to move on now to our sweet treat, which is a snack or a dessert. Let's move on to this snack that I love because it's so satisfying. And it is a snack. And if you can present it very nicely as a dessert as well. So I'll just give you some ideas. For this next one, these are called sweet potato sandwiches. In Argentina, we have something that are called alfajor, which is two cookies. It depends who the maker is. There are different kind of cookies. And inside there's some kind of jam or dulce de leche, which is caramel, but it's milk-based, and then they're either coated with some kind of white mixture, or they're coated with chocolate or things like that. We're not going to do that, but we're going to make a pretty good version of this alfajor or cookie sandwich, and we're going to use our two sweet potatoes that I asked you to bake ahead of time, and the ripe banana or bananas that I also asked you to have ahead of time. And we will just need the spice. The spice can be the pumpkin pie spice. It could be apple pie spice. It could be, let me see what else I have there. Yeah, what is it? Yeah, this one, which is called cinnamon, and which is called canela in Spanish. And I have this one. So we're letting the onions cool here. I'm going to put them here on the side. And this is what we're going to do. I'm going to cut. You want to get something like Hana or some other that are kind of sweet potatoes that are not too soft, and you don't want to cook them too much so that they will fall apart. And I'm going to cut slices. So I actually think that I did cook this one a little bit too much. So, but this is a live show. This is what happens, guys. Sometimes you don't know how things are going to turn out. I'm going to try this one. You really don't want to cook them too much because we don't want them to fall apart. You can leave the skin on or peel them. Okay, so here is a banana. It could be ripe or not. That depends on what you like. I say ripe because if you want a sweet treat, you want them as ripe as possible. So I'm going to cut slices, and I really am getting very hungry after all this work. So this would look nicer if I hadn't cooked my sweet potatoes so much. But I'm going to put 2 slices or 3, depending on the slice of the sweet potato. And I'm going to get some of my spice here. I'm using this one, but you can use whatever. And I will put the other side on top. Now you can sprinkle this a little bit more. What I was going to tell you is that you can present this really well if you, instead of the banana, let's say instead of the banana, you make some raspberry puree with apple sauce, and then you put that on top of this, and it makes it very colorful. And then you can cut it like this and open it and present it on a plate like that. You could even make a pretty healthy chocolate sauce and drizzle it on it. That is if you have guests and you want to have something fancy. This is my snack that I love because it has so much fiber and so many nutrients, and it's so filling. And so I'm going to show you how I take a bite, because like I said, I'm very hungry. So here we go. This sweet potato is very creamy and very sweet. This is something fun for kids to do. You could tell them that you're going to make cookie sandwiches, and you could use maybe peaches. You can use a lot of different things to make this sandwich. So this is something that I wanted to show you. You don't have to do it now. We can move on, but you can finish it later. And unfortunately, my sweet potatoes are a little bit overcooked. That's why they're falling apart. But I may just do something like this, and then get another one and do the same thing. And then I will, on the sides also, you could put some coconut as well, if you have any coconut flakes or things like that. So actually, that's a good way of doing this, to mash it and then put another one. Yeah, I know it's a little bit messy. That's not how I intended it. It's better, well, okay. So make sure that you don't do what I did and cook your sweet potatoes too much. So let's move on now to our last recipe of the day, which is something that is common in French cuisine. And it is a pâté. And a pâté is a sort of a dip that originally is made. It's made with liver. It's made with liver, but we're not going to use liver. So I'm going to show you a healthier option, and you can use this in many ways. I'm going to go ahead and put the onions on top of the salad, so you can see that as well. These caramelized onions with the salad. That's what gives it the unusual element in this salad. Wow. And the creamy salad dressing. This is going to be absolutely divine. All right. So, guys, let's move on to our last recipe so that then I can play the piano for you. Okay, so the mushroom pate is the next thing that we're going to make. It's called mushroom pate, but if you don't like mushrooms, you can use eggplant. So what are we going to use for this pate? I served it to some guests about 2 weeks ago, and they could not believe how good it tasted, and they didn't know what it was, what it had, but they just said that they had never tasted anything like it. So I think you'll like it. You will need 2 cups of cooked and drained lima beans or any kind of white beans. You will need your 1 ounce of dried pine mushrooms. That's important, but they have been soaking for quite a while. I just like to soak them because it makes it easier to process in the food processor. Instead of the lima beans, you could use tofu as well. Then we need half an onion chopped, and we need the juice of half a lemon, and we need the nutritional yeast and the soy sauce. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to put it together. Let's see here. We're going to put 2 cups of these white beans for the creaminess, or instead of this, you could be using 3.5 ounces of tofu. Now, what we're going to add, these are the pine mushrooms that they were soaking. I had them soaking for like 2 hours, and I chopped them just to make it easier to be processed. Okay, what else? We need the juice of half a lemon, which is here. We need 1 teaspoon of nutritional yeast, 1 teaspoon of nutritional yeast, and 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. You guys won't believe how exquisite this is. It is one of the best dips that I have tried. And you can use this to put on top of toasted whole wheat bread. You can, I put the half an onion chopped, and you can use this also with crispy lettuce to make like lettuce beds, let's say. You can use it as dip for different kind of veggies. You can put it on top of crackers. It's just delicious, either cold or warm. Both ways work just fine. So here we're gonna, this is going to make a loud noise. I'm sorry. Yes, I put the onion here. So this has the 2 cups of the white beans or butter beans, or you could use 3.5 ounces of tofu. It has the 1 ounce of the dried mushrooms. It has half an onion chopped. the juice of half a lemon, or you could put more if you like more, but I think that's perfect. 1 teaspoon of nutritional yeast and 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. So let's get this stuff here from the sides, because this needs to be creamy, creamy, creamy. So I might add a little bit more of soy sauce and maybe a few drops of water as well. Just a little, like that. And you can sound very fancy and sophisticated and say, oh, I made this wonderful pate that Gustave Delacroix, that's the last name that I would like to have if I get to live a second life. Gustave Delacroix showed me how to make this, and it is delicious. So if you want to use salt, this is where you would actually add the salt, but I don't think you need it, because with the lemon and the soy sauce, I don't think you need salt. Oh, guys, I love this so much. I cannot tell you. Yeah, the pine mushrooms that come from, obviously, they're grown under the pine trees. They are the ones that have the strongest taste and the more earthy taste. So, I got some crispy lettuce leaves from a place here in the town that they grown their own lettuce. So this is truly organic lettuce. That's too much. And I'm going to make a little roll. And let's try it and see how. This is another totally addictive recipe. But I do eat bread from time to time. And there's a bakery here that makes totally wheat bread with no oil, no butter, it has a little bit of salt. And I slice it and I toast it and I put this on it. And then maybe you can put a few slices of the 5 roasted red bell peppers. It's a very fancy, actually, sort of appetizer that can be. But you can put this on top of a potato as well. You can just find a lot of different uses. I'm sure this is not going to last very long in your kitchen. So that's it, guys. If you want it to be a little creamier, you will just add maybe a little more lemon juice, because I think this can take a little more lemon juice. But you find the consistency that you want. And I have tried, way back when I was little, I did try the actual pate that had liver in it. And I can tell you that this has quite a strong taste. It almost tastes like that, but obviously it's not. But very good. I also like to have this with tomato, like quarters. You uh, can cut them pretty and put tomatoes and slices of celery and radish and lettuce leaves and what else I use? I also use carrot sticks, and it's the perfect dip for a party. I assure you that you're going to be the start of the party if you take this. It's delicious. So that concludes our cooking session. Let's see. Can you see me okay? I'd like to see. Um, yes, the potatoes, you will be able to see them. Yes, I want to see how crispy or brown they are. I'm not going to forget to show you the potatoes. I do have a bed and breakfast here in this town. This is one of the most sought after towns in Argentina for vacations. You can walk, you can do horse riding, you can do all sorts of water sports. You can have me cook for you, and so I hope that when this craziness passes, that you will be able to come and visit me in Villa General Belgrano in Cordova, Argentina. So the sweet potato cookies that we made, they had three ingredients. They had the sweet potato, the banana, and the spices. So what I thought that inspired me to play this piece of music by Johann Sebastian Bach, which is a fugue. And a fugue is a piece of music that has different voices. And this fugue has three voices. And I thought, well, three voices with three ingredients, that's kind of fun. So this is a short piece of piano music by Johann Sebastian Bach, which goes well also with this German town where I am at this moment. Okay, here we go. Oh, I can play this 100 times, and I have, and I don't get tired. It's such a brilliant
an amazing piece of music. I'm learning all this music that I'm playing for you because when I go back to the States, I'm going to give some concerts there. I'm also going to start doing concerts online because that seems to be our new reality. So that was Johann Sebastian Bach. So now I have another one of my favorite, which is Friedrich Chopin. He was from Poland, but he lived most of his life in France, in Paris. He had to leave at a very young age Poland when he was a teenager because of a war, and his music has so much melancholy because he yearned from his homeland all his life, and he was very delicate and sick. He died of pneumonia, tuberculosis, I'm sorry, and was very frail. But he changed the way that we play the piano. His music is heavily, and like I said, there's a lot of melancholy. And I thought of playing this today for you because I do feel melancholic sometimes when I'm in Argentina. I miss my family and friends in the United States. I miss all of you. Sometimes I see you in conferences and lectures, uh, and then when I'm there, I miss my family and friends here. So I live with melancholy as well. And 4 or 5 years ago, I was able to travel to France, to Paris for the first time. And I went to the cemetery where Chopin was buried. His body was buried in France, in Paris, but he asked that his heart was taken out and buried in his homeland. Um, let's see, hold on. So when I got to the cemetery and found his grave, I wasn't ready for this incredibly overwhelming emotion that I felt after being a friend of Chopin for so many years, playing his music and getting to know his soul. And I just burst into tears. My mother was next to me as well, and we were both crying like two babies because I was standing right there where this great, great person and musician was. And so that brought a whole new different, uh, I don't know, feeling to Chopin. So here is Nocturne by Friedrich Francois Chopin. All right. Thank you for listening. When did I start learning piano? I was 8 years old, so it's been pretty much all my life. Thank you guys. You're so sweet. I appreciate that you came to hear it. I thought I would play for you something from Argentina, uh, a tango by Piazzolla. He wrote a group of tangos that he called, in a group, summer, winter, fall, and spring. So, because we are here in winter, I'm going to play winter. And because many of you are in summer, I chose summer. So, I'm going to play for you Piazzolla. Hold on just a minute. All right. So, this is Summer in Buenos Aires by Piazzolla. Next is winter. All right, thank you. I am going to play one more thing and we will be done for today. Yes, let's see. Look at these potatoes. Let's see here. I want you to hear the crunchiness. So I'm going to put this microphone right here. Let's see. Mmm. Mmm. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't stop now. Look at that. And here is the big one. When you cut this in the middle, then you will see the beautiful filling in it. So you can present it like this or in the little meatballs kind of thing. I know that a lot of you enjoy a piece of music that is called Moonlight, Clair de Lune. So that's what I will play to say goodbye to you. And again, I hope that you enjoyed it and that it wasn't too long. I will condense it a little bit in the replay. And this is Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy, one of the best composers that France had, although they had many, but he is one of the main figures of the Impressionism. So Debussy, while you are enjoying your pâté, you can be listening to Debussy since they're both French. How about that? Okay, so now, yes, it's time to say goodbye, and I hope to see you in another webinar. If you know someone that wants to learn piano, or if you want to take lessons, I give lessons online, and I hope to see you soon. Maybe, would you like to say hello? Here is one of my helpers. His name is
Hello.
Osvaldo. Okay, Osvaldo, and then Richard, come here so they can see you. He was the cameraman, and he was helping me behind the scenes there, Richard. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
So, the three crazy people. And Osvaldo loves New York. He travels a lot there, right? He's one of... You like New York a lot. So, very good. Well, I'll see you in another transmission soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.